Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Daylight NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Dave Jackson, Sacramento, he, him.
Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles and Fort Lauderdale.
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you are watching us on Rockfin, Odyssey, Band.video, Vigilante.tv, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate it. If you're feeling generous and you want to rate the show and subscribe to the show, go for it. We appreciate that. We'd like a 5-star rating if you think we've earned it. Only if you think we've earned it, of course. Hey, guess what? There's an event going on August 12th, Saturday, Austin, Texas, called the American Liberty Awards. You can go to AmericanLibertyAwards.com and vote for a variety of different things, different categories, people that you like. I'm nominated on 3 different occasions. It's amazing. Best analysis broadcast, best infobomb creator, whatever that is, most truth revealing book. So I will listen. I'm just happy to be there. Right. I'm just happy to be associated with it. So if you're interested, go to AmericanLibertyAwards.com. You can go. They've got tickets. You want to go hang out on a Saturday night in Austin, Texas, down on 6th Street downtown? That's where it's going to be. It sounds like a party to me. So check it out. Also, if you are thinking of being in New York City over 9/11 weekend, this is September 9th, 2023, Saturday. There's an event called Free World NYC. It's being put on by Billy Ray Valentine, my good friend. He's going to be the host. I'll be speaking. Gardner Goldsmith will be there. John Brisson, Tony Arterburn, Wayne McCroy, Don Jeffries, and Richard Gage will all be there. So if you're thinking that you might want to talk a little 9/11 in New York City on the weekend of 9/11 with some people that know a thing or two about it, then there's a link in the description. Free World NYC. You can click on it and get yourself a ticket, all-day ticket. I think it's like $72. Saturday, September 9th, 2023. Be there or be square. Also, thanks to our sponsors that make this show happen. My Patriot Supply was nice enough to build a landing page for us called preparewithmacroaggressions.com. I hope you don't need it. You probably should have some storable food just in case. We know how weird things will get. You don't want to be a day late on this sort of thing and have to fight some asshole in aisle 6 over the last can of baked beans or something. So get yourself sorted out in advance. You can go to preparewithmacroaggressions.com and knock everything out in like 10 minutes, and they'll just deliver it right to your door. If you're already set up, good for you. You're ahead of 99.5% of the people in this country. So maybe you need to get your family set up. Maybe they're out of state. Maybe you got a older mother that doesn't really know what's going on. You want to make sure that she's set up. You can just buy it. They'll send it right to her house. So go to the website, take a look. It's more than just food. They have items too. They have all sorts of gear that you might need. Preparewithmacroaggressions.com is the place to do that. And also thanks to Legal Shield. They've been in business for half a century in the United States and Canada. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And basically it gets the collective buying power of all of us directed towards one particular high-powered law firm in your area. So it's going to get you access to legal representation for a very reasonable price. How reasonable? How's $30 a month? $1 a day. Pretty good, right? It'll get you into a lawyer, knock out all of the paperwork that you need. Medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, last will and testament. You don't want to get the state involved with your affairs when you're alive. You certainly don't want them involved when you're dead. So take a look at that. I'd say just sign up for the program if you think it's right for you. And then in the first week or so, make that appointment with the law firm in your area. Tell them what you want. Tell them the documents. Yeah, I want to get these things knocked out real quick. Set up an appointment, go in there, take care of all that, stick it in your safe, then you're done. And I'll tell you what, that one trip there probably paid itself off for this service for the next 5 or 6 years. So I don't know. It's something to consider. It gives you access to an attorney if you need one and for a very reasonable price. So the website that they built just for us, www.don'tgetpushedaround.com. Okay, the business is out of the way. I'm super stoked. I smile just when I see you smiling. Brandon Thomas, Expanding Reality Podcast, expandingrealitypodcast.com. I just love your energy, man. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Great to see you too. Thank you so much for having me. I love your fucking energy, dude. And yeah, everything's amazing. Everything is absolutely exceptional. Every day above ground's a good one, but they mean more lately. And so it's been really nice. Thank you.
What a journey we've been on, huh? What a trip. What's it like to be conscious in an unconscious world right
now? It's actually very entertaining. There's all sorts of ways that you can keep yourself entertained with NPCs, mixing up words, put on an accent whenever you meet someone from a country you're obviously not from. All of these types of things are ways that you can keep yourself entertained amongst the chaos.
We need it, man. I'll tell you, I go, whenever I travel, you go through the airport, you get on an airplane, you got to deal with humanity. I mean, and I have just about as little respect for humanity as you can have without becoming a serial killer. But I go to the airport and it's like, man, there's still easily 5% of the population in the airport. I'll be as accurate as maybe I'm 5%. Still wearing masks, the whole family all masked up. And I see this and I think, holy shit. I mean, was Yuri Bezmenov right? Like the demoralization, you can break somebody's brain. And then after that point, you can shower them with information as he described it, and you won't be able to change them. And I see that and I go, this is like living in an experiment, like watching an experiment in real time. And so like, oh, let's see if we can crack these normies' heads open and make them wear masks for the rest of their lives. Are they going to wear masks for the rest of their lives, Brandon?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. And the really interesting thing, and I know that we're going to get into it here because I'm already feeling this conversation. And Charlie, thank you so much again for having me. And thank you for having me on your amazing TNT Radio Live show.
Oh, that was fun.
Well, congratulations again. This is just, you deserve everything, brother.
Oh, thanks, man.
So I don't see a bad guy here. And I know this may be incendiary, controversial, all of these things. I viewed this place through many, many, many lenses. And so we'll bring it back a little bit to a quote that I heard in a movie, 1999 film by Kevin Smith called Dogma. Now, this film is not, as I am aware, streaming anywhere. It's one that got acquired by Warner Brothers, the one out of all of the dick and fart joke movies, the Jay and Silent Bobs and Clerks and Mallrats and all that. You could stream all those others, but not this one. And it's packed full of just incredibly cool information. And one of the lines in there is delivered by Rufus, the character played by Chris Rock. And it goes that I don't have beliefs, I have ideas, because ideas are easier to change. And when I heard that, I thought about it deeply. And I thought that, a lot of the challenges I was running into and people's ability to see the way the world is seen through my eyes, and the fact, like what we talk about on the alternative media side is, hey, here's what's going on. It's right in your face. Wake up. And it was those things that I looked around. I'm like, how can you be so stuck in something and not see it? And this led me to an incredible journey, as you said, and you're absolutely accurate in that, down the road of words and neurolinguistic programming and perception management and how your perception can actually be hijacked. There's your reticular activating system. There's the double slit experiment. There's the placebo effect. There's all sorts of things in your reality that show that you can be easily apprehended, easily bamboozled, if you will. But back to the no bad guy thing, I really feel it's part of a ride. It's part of a experience that we have in some way signed up for. And you don't even need to necessarily go freaky woo-woo with it as far as spirituality and all of that. We dance in all the realms. But even the quantum physics side of things, the legit PhD folks with accolades that are coming up and now saying that actually the world's a hologram, essentially, and that you're creating it with your thoughts and your vibes are actually the way it drives it and your energy. And it's very interesting to see these things because spirituality has been saying this for thousands of years. And so this is the point of time. And I find it's the most electric point in our human history, if there is such a thing. And that goes really deep too, that then it would be that this is the transcendental moment. This is revolution. This is revelation. This is the apocalypse, which all of that just means the illuminating of, the bringing out of the shit, which is why it's so easy to see the damn things now. It's so easy to see them wearing masks on TV. And you might ask yourself, well, what's up with that? Why does Joe Biden look completely different? Why is it so easy to Bill and Melinda Gates got killed in 2013 and killing their people. And so they murdered them and then were replaced by doubles. And obviously Kevin Kline is Melinda Gates. It's easy. Like anyone can see this stuff, right? So why we find ourselves with the question of why can't everyone see it? And there's a wonderful quote by Leonardo da Vinci. And it said, there are three classes of people in this world. Those who can see when shown, and those who don't see. And that's it. Now, a lot of folks can get stuck on those that don't see and argue with a brick wall over why they don't read at the same reading level that they do. It's built into the mechanism, man. I feel it's built into the code at a certain level. And so this is where, you sort of get this idea of NPCs or non-playable characters whenever we're bringing the simulation into an example of a model of reality in which we're just sort of exploring. And keeping in mind, again, that I don't have beliefs, I have ideas. This place can be round, flat. It can be a hologram. It could be your brain in a vat. I'm fine with any of it. Like it doesn't bum me out, in any way for it to be one fixed thing or another. And I feel that what we're coming into now, this age of Aquarius, this great illumination, this whatever you want to call it, that's been being observed in many ways. And it doesn't, again, necessarily have to be some spiritual woo-woo, everybody singing Kumbaya and like, here it comes, or maybe not even necessarily some sort of Anunnaki revisiting, or maybe it's all of it. It could be all the fucking above. But it is an interesting time in which I feel that we're seeing reality itself shift from a duality-based model, this either-or concept, this old philosophical idea is this or that, right? To a much more inclusive either-or type model, where it's, much more dichotomy, which just means the two contradictory points existing in the same place at the same time. And we can see this all over with these examples of the simple one of the two people yelling at each other on either side of a 6 and a 9 written on the ground, where it's obviously from this person's perspective, it's a 6, from that one's it's a 9, but neither have, it seems, the mental faculty to be able to see it for that. They just see where they are and yell about it. And it's a wonderful example of the beliefs and how you can get stuck in that and how it's very tricky to change those. And the line was absolutely accurate about this. You think of folks very invested in the religious ideologies and that maybe they're presented with new information that contradicts that or challenges that in any way. And rather than maybe take themselves on the opportunity to grow and expand into greater awarenesses, they hunker down. And in my mind, that's an energy here that needs to be here. It's facilitating the anchor point or the juxtaposition for us to be able to calibrate our existence on.
Yeah.
So if the shit didn't exist, we wouldn't have something to air quotes fight for. And again, it leads me all back philosophically that it's just a game. It's just a fucking ride. Some people are playing the black hats, some people are playing white hats, but it's very feeling here.
I listen, you're right. And they talk a lot about that, even back in the Egyptians, the Ra and Set, right? They're fighting, the sun god comes and the darkness comes every night. You have to have one to understand the other. You have to, in order to contrast off of the other. So I found that I haven't done like an official survey or anything like that, but I think that most of the people in the alternative media have had over the course of their life at least one psychedelic experience. And I think that part of what that does is that it allows you to get a different perspective, or maybe get outside of yourself for just a little bit. You don't have to do it all the time, obviously, but just to know what it feels like to be outside, external of yourself, looking at yourself, or putting yourself in a different, just coming at information or from just a totally different angle. And I had this experience. I think you and I have talked about this, or if not, we're going to talk about it now. But I when I went to Anarchapulco, I've gone 3 different times. And the first 2 times they had these a la carte, like you could add on to your experience after you bought your ticket to come to the event or whatever. You could add on the ayahuasca, at night, or you could add on the DMT ceremony. And they were like legit ceremonies. Like they didn't fuck around. They brought in like shaman and musicians and all of this. So like the vibe they spent all day getting the room set up so that the vibe was right. And it was amazing. And I've done that on a couple different occasions, but I'd never done the smokable DMT, right? The one that, the one that Rogan talks about, the machine elves and all that stuff. And so my DMT buddy there, Johnny Dollar, who is a crypto anarchist artist guy who's just off the charts amazing. And every time I'm there, he's there too. And we got paired up one year for DMT just randomly by the shaman. And he and I have been friends ever since. And so this time around, he says, we're going to do the smokable kind. I'm going to hook you up. So we go down to the beach on the Friday night, 8:00 at night, sun's down, everything's good. Nobody's out on the beach, right? It's totally empty. It's not like some beach party or anything. It's just me and Johnny and towels and whatever. We're going to go to Pluto, right? And we go do a couple sessions, and I get and it is as amazing and as crazy as everybody describes it. But that last one, the last session, the 5th session of the night, he said, this time I want you to keep your eyes open. Because he'd gone through this. This was, he'd done it before. And so he sort of was kind of helping guide me. But we had been DMT partners before, so I felt really comfortable with him. And he said, this time I want you to keep your eyes open. Just go hit this thing as hard as you can for as long as you can, but don't lay down on the beach and close your eyes. Stay seated and look around. Tell me what you see. And when I did that, the entire beach just turned into a grid with very, very fine bluish green lights in a perfectly straight gridded pattern. I don't want to say checkerboard. I don't want to get the Masons involved here because it wasn't checkered. There weren't different colors. It was just empty grid. And the waves, I remember the waves were, they'd come in, you could kind of see it because the moon was out there. The waves would come in and crash and everything. And the waves just froze in at mid break, everything just froze. And I looked up and this grid continued all the way up through the horizon and all the way up as I looked up to the stars. And the whole top part was just a continuous grid. And I thought, okay, well, if this is a simulation, I feel like I'm looking at the skeleton of it, the bones of it, the framework, the structure. Like if you've got a artistic rendering program on your computer, if you're a graphic artist, and you make the framework and then you add layers onto it. I felt like I was looking at the base layer. And I will never, ever, ever forget that because it was a moment. So again, like when you come back from that, I remember saying to Johnny next to me, I started laughing. I go, how the fuck am I supposed to go back to reality after this, man? Like, how am I supposed to go pay my bills?
DMV. Yeah.
After I've seen the grid. And he's like, yeah, exactly. It's hard to kind of do. So, listen, I'm open to all of this and I don't pretend to be like some sort of expert and I don't know how it all works, but I do know something. I do know that I am going to try and figure it out to the best that I can. But I'm going to keep the thing that all people that like psychedelics do. I'm going to keep myself open to the possibility that everything I know is wrong. And I'm going to allow myself the flexibility to be wrong and not beat myself up over it because it's a strange place we're living in, man. And our brains are weird. And and our cells all die after 7 years and get replicated like we're a brand new person. Like what the fuck is going on here, man? It is, and I allow myself to enjoy not having the answers to it, because God, if you had all the answers to it, what fun would that be, right?
It's the most mature place you can be. And it's amazing your experience. So we're absolutely going to talk about this. Yes, I do remember we had spoken about the grid idea. And I believe related to you also that I had my first smoked DMT experience this March.
Nice.
On St. Patrick's Day, just coincidentally. I was in Atlanta, actually day after 18th. And St. Patrick's Day. There we are. And so had this experience, but the same thing, definitely eyes closed. And it was a grid formation that appeared first. There was an environment that was telling me there is sort of a boundary here, but it didn't seem like it couldn't be exceeded. It just said, hey, we're going to kind of give you this for frame of reference, but it feels at the same level. If we can step out, and zoom way out from our perspective here where we are, or where we feel we are rather, then you may be able to see that from your perspective. That's a nice thing to look at in the macro as well, is that you have an example that you are within an environment that you yourself can conceptualize in another state. So let's say that that's sort of a cheat code to this place. And a lot of us that are psychonauts that participate in this, I've been one for well over 24 years. And it's been something that has absolutely shifted the perception. And the perception is all you have. Like, that's it. The way you look at things, that's it. Dr. Wayne Dyer, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's very accurate. The sliver of reality from everything's awesome to everything's evil is thin. And it's a kaleidoscope twist away from being one pattern or another. The good news about that is it's one kaleidoscope twist away from being one thing or another. So therefore, wherever you are, number one, there you are. And I love that. But also you can change that. And all you need to do is sit with your perception, say, where am I? What am I feeling? What am I giving my power away to in the moment? There's these bombs that come into your experience that can just shake you and rock you out of your reality and put you very firmly into what we refer to as the 3D, right? This rendering, whatever this is. And as long as you can be aware that those exist and that they're here as I'm going to go over adversary versus evil in a second, but I'm writing it down and note it. So if you can kind of keep that noted, then you see it as actually a game that you're participating in the creation of as you experience it. And when you see things that way, that's when you break out. You ask the question, what is it like to not live in that realm anymore? That's what it's like. That's where you go, oh, there was a realm being created for me, almost like viewing a website template. Whenever you sign up to create your own website, they give you a template, and that's a nice place to start. But perhaps you want to do something else, or maybe you just want to do something completely different altogether. You have the option to do that because you still have the framework or the environment in which to create that. The way that I feel about these Klaus Schanel Schwabs, like these this Nazi wet dream, all this stuff, it's to inspire creativity in us. And it's to show us that that's an option of experience, sure, but it's not a viable one clearly. And that's made more evident by its ridiculousness. Mm-hmm. And again, back to the fact that it's so self-evident, I feel it needs to be that way. I feel it's that way on purpose. Not that we've gotten smarter necessarily. I feel that's absolutely a component of it. We're sort of meeting it in the middle, whatever it is. The term resistance is what that thing is called, and it wears many masks, and I will come back to it. So whenever you look at things like this, then you sit around and you say, okay, well, there are things here that challenge me, and other people around me have called them evil, and I've perceived evil in my life because people told me that's what evil was. I experienced it. There are horrible atrocities that are made aware in my experience, whether I've experienced them or not. There are things in this place I'm told are evil, so therefore evil must exist. Now, this will permeate into any effect that you have. Let's say that you have one of these magical experiences, a psychedelic, a near death. If you have a contact experience, what people refer to as contact by non-human intelligence, an extraterrestrial entity, something like this, all of these things facilitate sort of an engagement with the other, whatever that is. It's the other side of this physical reality that you can perceive, but the fact it's perceivable to you is all the more amazing. Like, you can get there, and through a myriad of things that can be found all around you. So when you're in that state and you're sitting here saying, okay, well, everything's for us, by us, right? It's FUBU. This thing called evil turns into a different, you assign it a different nomenclature in the term of an adversary. So an enemy is one thing that is an agent of evil. And yes, if you subscribe to evil, then in your psychedelic experience, you may be visited by demons or angels. If you get scooped up by a UFO, or what other people would call that, you're going to say it was an angel or a demon. If you have a near-death experience, you would be greeted, and you will either go to heaven if you believe you should, or go to hell if you believe you should. That's how fucking powerful you are. There are countless examples of many people, 3 people specifically that come to mind that had their car went into a river. All 3 of them died clinically. All 3 had a near-death experience. All 3 were visited in a template-like format. One by Buddha, one by Jesus, one by an ancestor. So they were greeted by something that they felt was an entity, but it greeted them in the way that they expected to see it. So then you get down to, well, if I just reframe the way that I expect to see things, do things change in your actual reality? And the answer is fuck yeah. Like fucking yes. I'm not a different person. My reality is completely different. I'm changing my cells on a moment by moment, breath by breath basis, like what you said. Yes, they absolutely naturally redo this every 7 years, but you can absolutely heal yourself constantly on any given moment. There's so many things that I've changed about my life in response to this ideal that nothing's out here to hurt me and to get me. The first law of this place, and I truly believe this. Now, I'm throwing the B word in here very specifically because we've already heard what I feel about the B word. Right. I use it very intentionally that I believe that your sovereignty is everything here. No one is going to come throw you on the ground and stick a needle in your arm. No one is going to do these horrible things unless it's part of your experience. And this goes into a very deep philosophical conversation about which there is a lot of emotional maturity that your audience has, and we can absolutely have this. But to come back, the adversary is what I feel is really at play here, and which is the other side of the darker side of you, or a challenging side of you. And that's its job, is to motivate you, to be creative, to inspire you to be this deliberate creator. Just like say in The Matrix, we tried a perfect one and no one took to the program. Everybody just sat there and watched The Real Housewives of whatever and talked about the Kardashians' asses. And we're fine working in a cubicle and just suffering their whole lives and just yelling at a TV rather than taking their kids out. So we had to do something. And then 2020 hit. And 2020 gives you 2020 vision, hindsight, all these beautiful things in the physical reality that I feel a lot of people now see this place as an adversary. It's here to challenge you, which is something to be welcomed rather than feared. The only fear is the old version of you that needs to go in replace of the new, greater, grander version of you. That's what you're mourning the loss of.
Yeah. But it's so hard to let go of yourself because you've needed yourself this whole time. And what if I let go of my that's, what you kind of need to burn the boat at some point. So if you're making these changes, like I'm not the same person I was, when I was in college. I still am I was a good person then. I'm a good person now, but I now have just a ton of experiences under my belt, and that's changed me. It's changed my perception on things. It's changed the way, and just, getting older and your relationship with time. How much time do you have left? Do you have kids? Do you not have kids? All those things change you. And I'm fine. I'm open to change. And in fact, my philosophy when it comes to writing books or doing podcasts or whatever, I mean, especially with regard to books, because they're kind of a permanent record of what you think and what you've written. So, listen, I've given myself the flexibility to say, listen, I reserve the right to change my mind about something I've said in the past if I am presented with better information than I had before. And I think that that's a reasonable thing to do. And I think that I'm trying to, to the extent that I can, move my ego out of the way and just say, I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to get things wrong. Like it's unavoidable. Do I want to be the guy that doubles down on a mistake, or do I want to just say, I got this one wrong, and I got this one wrong because I was going off of this, but now there's a new way of doing it. I mean, I want my science challenged. And if my science is wrong, then show me where it's wrong and let's get it right. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in being right necessarily. I want to get it right. Hopefully they're the same thing, but I don't know that they will be all the time. But if the goal is let's get it right, you have to open yourself up to failure. You have to allow for that to happen. You have to, maybe not failure, but you have to be right. You have to say, oh, I used to think that too, or I used to come at it from this direction too. But I've decided through my experiences, through the mistakes I've made, through the things I've gotten right, through the things I've gotten wrong, I've decided that I prefer to come at it from this other angle. And that works for me. And I recognize that not everybody's the same. Not everybody's in the same place in their journey, the same time in their journey. A lot of people are just waking up to this stuff. A lot of people have been like, I've been talking about this shit for 30 years, man. You guys are late to the party, So listen, I'm just trying to talk it out, work it out so that we can get to a place where we're all better equipped to deal with this reality, whatever this is.
Dude, you've nailed it. You've absolutely nailed this. And with your just simple perception, and it's such a basic one, it sounds like, but it's such a monumental one for this society and for what you've been up against and for the examples you've had. And so it's really an achievement in itself to be able to say, I can change my mind with new information. Now, I feel moving forward, that is going to be a baseline consciousness. That's going to be like poop comes out the butthole, not your mouth. Got it.
Right.
Like, it's so simple. It's so automatic, but it's such an achievement here in this reality with these set of standards. It's crazy. So I wanted to elongate here on your old self. So the past and present versions of you and these kinds of things are absolutely fascinating. And a wonderful guy I've got to get you in touch with is Dr. Doug Matzke. He's the only dude that Dr. William Tiller ever co-wrote a book with, and he's just awesome. My wife and I are actually reading the audiobook for him and publishing it under the publishing house. So
really?
Yes, I'll get you in contact with these dude. He is cool as shit. One of the things we talk about when we talk about old selves, new selves, things like this, is that at a certain point in your life, let's say that you look at this as movie pictures, right? As slices that are just all added together. And I love that in your experience, Charlie, you had this DMT experience where the wave froze and stopped, but you were still animated and outside of the moment that you were in, but it froze, like in the movies, right? Like in Saved by the Bell, when he's like, time out, and he looks at he breaks the fourth wall and everybody stops. Okay, and it's sort of like this, but if you could picture that, somewhere along those lines, there's an old version of you or a past version of you from our perspective that got hurt and that felt that money wasn't a good thing and that felt that it wasn't safe to be happy and felt unworthy of happiness and felt that struggle was just the way. And so just adopted it and did everything it could to hang on to the idea of struggle. Now, whenever we say terms like going forward, I hope we get it right and wrong, and right and wrong and all of those things are absolutely subjective. So I feel that the best way moving forward that what we can hope for is making decisions with the greatest awareness. And so if we can have all the awareness available to us, then what you're experiencing in this moment of revisiting a past image of yourself and that little 5-year-old Charlie sitting on the bed with the dino sheets, just sad because his dad thinks his Ferrari is dumb because the people who drive Ferraris are always assholes because they have a lot of money. So therefore, small Charlie distanced himself as far as he could from the idea of affluence, money, wanting things he liked and expressing himself in that way because his dad, his idol, the dude that is everything to him, told him that that's not so and that actually it's you covet means and no, it's not good for you. So subconscious Charlie has been surviving his entire life on the fact that that is an absolute certainty and a truth for him. So you can do this with any moment where you felt unworthy, where you felt unloved, anything like this, and you bring your current awareness where you are now that you feel you've gotten it right, or at least the expanded awareness you have, and you bring it and you offer it to that small person, that little Charlie sitting there, or you bring that little Charlie to your now and you say, dude, look at this. Like, look at this conversation I'm having with this guy, Brandon. He's wild. Like you bring him to now and you show him how safe it is, how much awareness you have, how strong you are. And in this way, you're actually changing the past. Quantum physics tells you this. You actually create the past and the future simultaneously. So what you're really doing with this is that you're going through and cleaning up the muck. You're just waxing off all these little things and events that stained you in a way that made you feel stuck or made you feel small or made you feel something other than the glowing, bright, beautiful, amazing, deliberate creator that you are. And there's a bajillion adversaries here that are put here for you to learn from. And it's a beautiful fucking ride and it is absolutely a mind fuck, but stay with me here on this. So your past you, if you've never done this exercise, whenever you get to a new point in your life and you start to say, you know what, I'm going to write a book or I'm going to change my life. I'm going to quit my full-time job and I'm going to play podcaster. Anything like that, the old you is losing its shit. Now, there's a lot of side stuff here. So we'll just keep it very simple to say that you're always creating your reality from your moment of now. Okay. So think of it like the only moment that exists is the moment of right now. And that's it. So if you're always creating from your moment of now, and when you get to a point where growth is inevitable, where you're excited to move forward, you've made a choice. I'm actually going to do this. I am going to start working out. I am going to run that marathon. I am going to quit drinking, whatever. Then you get to your old self pops in and goes, hey, dude, remember me? actually, all the things that you want to do, I've done a great job of getting us here and I've survived. Think of all the things that I got you through with the alcohol, your mom's death. You were very suicidal and you weren't anymore. Think of the things that I've gotten you through with the behaviors and attitudes I have towards others, even though they're not from the heart, they're not what we want. I've survived. I kept us here the entire time. And you have no argument against that.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that. You're here because of how you've been in the past. That's been good enough to get you to this point, and it should be good enough to get you further, right? That's the limiting trap that's being set.
That's the idea. And the amazing part about this is you created it. So it's a Chinese finger trap in any direction. And the harder you pull, the more stuck you get. And so it's in these moments where you relax, where you realize that actually you're currently here with new awareness, and that the current you would not argue with the 12-year-old version of you that is actually showing up right now in this moment because it's scared, because you haven't told the 12-year-old version of you that it's safe. And you do this through quantum physics, man. You just sit with it for 5 minutes. You don't have to tell anyone you're doing this. Do it while you're taking a shit one morning when the door's closed, all the kids are gone, whatever. Sit with yourself, your old self, and maybe do this through a toilet portal where you're healing your old self just in these micro versions. And anything like you are going to clean up muck left and right. You're going to find that they were anchors to your ascension, if you want to call it that. And really what they are sandbags on the outside of your amazing hot air balloon that you're sailing through the sky in. And so you start snipping those things, man. The sky is the limit is a silly term because that's too limiting. It's well beyond the sky.
Let's talk about the power of positivity, right? Because we understand that there's power in negativity, right? Mm-hmm. You can make yourself sick. You can make yourself bitter and angry and physically sick with your thoughts. We've seen the tests, the Japanese tests where they yell at the water, right? They have water, then they yell at it and then they freeze it, and the ice crystals are all chaotic. And then the ones that they say, hey, you're going to be a great drop of water today. You're going to go out and have this is going to be the best day of your life. You talk all nice to it, and then it freezes it. You freeze that, and the crystals are all amazing. I mean, it gets, you're in this, like, it's sort of hippie-ish, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? But I think the point is that you can affect reality by the way you think about your current situation, right? If you go into the day thinking good thoughts, more often than not, you have a better day. And if you go into it thinking, everyone's been around the guy that's just negative, right? That's just shitty. And I try not to do that because I know that I know shit. I know so much stuff. I just have to keep my mouth shut. Like when I'm at the dinner table, some topic comes up and I want to just be like, oh, well, actually that guy's the worst person. I just bite my tongue. And I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to be the guy that's just shitting on everything. So I'm fighting this battle constantly where I'm trying to not be negative because I know how much bad stuff is out there in the world. But if you can get to a point where you really are acting from a place of positivity, it has a physical effect, right? Like you've seen this, right? Power of positivity. I mean, it sounds like it should be on a bumper sticker or something, but it's very real.
It's very real. And it has actual physiological effects on you. And that's why it's so poo-pooed in mainstream. It's gaslit, to be completely honest with you. There are terms like toxic positivity. And these are folks, I consider myself an optimist. An apocalyptimist. That's what it is.
There you go. That's cool.
I just had Laurel Erica on the show. She's a wordmagicglobal.com. She's been on Aubrey Martin. She's incredible. It's the latest episode. She's a deer. She's actually publishing some work through our publishing. And her definition for that was an apocalyptimist, which is somebody that, the world may be going to shit around you or perceivably so, but you're a boundless optimist. You can allow yourself to be consumed by the flames, or you can realize that you created it all and transcend it like the phoenix that you are. It's absolutely your choice. Now, what's even more of a mind fuck to this, I suppose, is that either way, you're correct. So either way, whatever you choose to experience here, you're absolutely right. If you feel that the globalists are going to take over and that Klaus Daniel Schwab is going to parachute into your house and kick the windows in and like take all of your family, then shit, you might experience that shit. So be careful.
Yeah.
The other thing about this time period is things are accelerating as far as your creative ability, your ability to physically create and manifest your reality. Now, some people, again, have been gaslit against this. And yes, it has not always had the most cohesive representation. Let's just put it that way. But what I will say is to some of those folks that are out there with finger chimes in the parks and stuff like that, they've actually got it figured out, and in an interesting way. But there are ways that it's not unappealing to exist in that world. So one of the most interesting things is when you just start to change the way you look at this bitch. That's all you do. It's a perception alteration. It's not what do I need to do? What is actionable in my life that I need to do? I can give you some of those. They include clean out your garage, clean out that drawer that's in your kitchen that has all the batteries in it and shit. Donate any of your old clothes out to Goodwill or anything like that. Start a garden in your backyard if you have the ability to do so. There are many things I can suggest that you do rather than focus on the things in your reality that you've chosen to experience at a level. And I know that that's incendiary to some, that you've chosen to experience on a level, but you have all the power in the world to change it. The whole deal with this place, the way that I really, on a deep level, see it is just we have an example in our macro reality called social media. So if you go on social media and you're swiping the things you like, it's going to send you more of. It's not only going to send you more of that creator, but more of that type of video. So if you're liking people fighting all the time, like street fights and stuff like that, then you're going to get that. And then you're also going to get things that are associated with that. Pranks where somebody really gets hurt, things where kids are getting hurt or something, or animals or something. So you're going to find yourself in this hole. And what it is it's all associative content. So that's the whole point, is you're getting exactly what you want. Now, the way to change this is stop. Just stop it. It's literally that easy. You change what you're liking. You unfollow the account that you keep getting popped up from a vibe point. You can even mute them, and that's fine. Nobody needs to know that you're doing this. Social media has made this very easy for you to be actionable in your life. Then also, you may then just say, actually, I'm going to search for this. And I heard Charlie talk about this, and I'm just going to look at this thing. And more of that's going to pop up. Your life at macro is an algorithm of your choosing. If you choose to see it as scary, it will present itself as such. There's a physical reason for this, and it's called your RAS, or your reticular activating system. It's a bundle of nerves in your brain that governs four functions: sleep, melatonin regulation, stuff like that. But the one I find most fascinating is one of what governs perception. And your perception is the definition of this bundle of nerves, how it governs the way that you view your world, which is everything, by the way. We've just realized that it's a sliver between everything's awesome and everything's shit. And you're right either way. Your reticular activating system filters out useless information as to highlight or present useful information. One of the examples of this is your nose. The tip of your nose is perpetually visible to your eye line. You can always see it, but your brain automatically omits it from your view because it's not useful. Now, we can all sort of probably agree on that one. But if you take the definitions deeper, useful and useless are the most subjective things ever. So then you would say, who's determining what is useful and useless to you? Some people have given that power over to a lot of other folks. And so their RAS only sees, I got to wear my mask. I got to do this. Everyone's out to hurt me. So the reticular activating system is pulling to their eye line, the only things there, even though there's something right next to it that has nothing to do with that means something completely different. It's the only thing they can see because it's the only thing they've chosen for that filter to pick up. So when you replace things like everything is shit to I only have opportunities around me, your world changes. When you can do this on simple things. When you are buying a car and you're looking up a car and maybe you don't see it very much. A blue Tesla is the example I use. In your reality, you will see blue Teslas constantly now, where you would not have seen them before. It's just simply because your reticular activating system has been told, hey, this is useful information to me. So I need you to show them all the motherfuckers that are out there.
This reminds me, I remember watching the movie and then having the CDs for The Secret, this Power of Attraction, right? And it got kind of commercialized and all that stuff, which happens. But the concept and the people that they brought on for the documentary, the people that they interviewed were people like Wayne Dyer, guys, the people that had written Jack Canfield, people that had written all these books, these self-help books, and they'd gotten to that point where they were explaining like you are a powerful magnet, but you just better be careful when you go out there because you start thinking about certain things and that's going to kind of come towards you and in unusual ways. And that there's a downside to that too. You also are kind of like paying attention to like, oh, is this a secret? Is this coming? It's like, for me, like I was like listening to the book or listening to the audio books of The Secret, and found a piece of land that I wanted to buy in Belize, or I just was looking at land, at islands in particular. And I found a place called Secret Island in Belize, and I fucking bought it. And I was like, I'm going to buy this island. Like, we're going to buy it. And I was convinced it was because I was like, The Secret, I'm looking for, like it came together, I was like, this is too good to be true, So in retrospect, I mean, I sold it like 10 years later, but in retrospect, I was like, I might've been a little too open to the ideas. Like I might've been looking for associations a little bit too much in this and didn't allow myself. That was something that I had to control. I had to learn, like through like the discernment process of like, well, be very careful. Okay. Yes, you are attracting things. You might not always be it might not be a sign. Oh, that's a sign. To me, it was like, oh, that's a sign. I got to buy this place.
Everything's a fucking sign.
And I was like, is this a good sign or a bad sign? I guess in retrospect, it was neither. It was neither a good sign or a bad sign. It was just information that was coming my way. But I was so like hypersensitive to what was magically showing up in my life. And I, in looking back on that whole time frame, that whole era, like I went through hell. That was the beginning of hell for me. I had no idea, but once I got myself kind of attuned to this like law of attraction component and the things that come along, and I was more aware of that, I brought in the darkest era of my existence, the darkest 2-3 year period of my life. And I started to, in retrospect, I look back on that part and I thought, maybe I needed it. Maybe I had to go through it. Maybe that's what I subconsciously wanted, was this destruction, this clearing out of my entire identity, my job, my marriage, my everything got turned on its head. And I wondered about that. I wondered, looking back on that, like maybe I needed that.
So proud of you. There's so many examples of why that's so important. One of the things in tarot, if you subscribe or even glance at it, there's a thing called a tower moment in tarot. And that's exactly what you're referring to here. It's when everything seems to, from our perspective, go to shit or fall away. People will notice this as well when you start quit drinking or you go on a spiritual path or something like that. You were surrounded by people that weren't on that path, and some may come with you, but it's very rare if they do. And some people can get stuck there. Some people are like, oh, but I'm graduating. It's a Van Wilder syndrome. Have you ever seen that movie, Van Wilder?
Oh, yeah.
So where he stays in college, even though he should have graduated a long time ago. You were given an island in Belize because you created it. You manifested it, and then it scared the shit out of you. And that's what happened. And it does, because it's scary. And then what happened is you were like, you know what? I am very empowered by this. And you were naturally on this trajectory is how I see this. And then you had a tower moment. You called it in. It's called the law of compensation and manifestation. You have to get rid of something else before you can have something come in new. The example, of course, an obvious one is your couch. Like, let's say you have a couch in your home, you buy a new one. You're not going to bring the new couch in where the old one is and then shuffle it around and fuck with it. You're going to get that old couch out of there. You're going to clean everything up. You're going to make sure the space is nice and ready for the new couch to come in and enhance your life and be greater, right? Everything about your life now is a better couch than you had before, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So in every way, the Charlie we're talking to is a better couch than the Charlie before.
I think so.
Yeah, I would venture to agree with you there, because you are on a path of wisdom and seeking and expansion. And inevitably with this, you're going to come across these things. Tower moments is how they're called, but you welcome them, dude. I welcome this shit. To me now, they're they're indicators of level up, rather. They show me now, okay, cool. This has been cleared out. Badass. I know the next shit's on the way. And I get lit up with whatever goose pimples you want to talk about, just talking about this with you. And it's inevitable. And so every step you take leads you to where you are. And this is why it's so easy to forgive yourself for any like thing that you have been running around in your mind. Like, oh, I did this and I felt this way and I said this to this person and I wish I could take it. But I mean, you're welcome to get stuck there. But again, it's like Van Wilder, graduate, man, take it. I'm happier in this moment than I am of the pain of the past. Like, move forward. And it's these things that are options of experience. You can get stuck in memories, and there are whirlpools along the side of the river of life, and you can hang out there as long as you want. There's no right way to do this. There's no wrong way to do this. It's inherently meaningless. It has the meaning you give it. And so when you say, I saw it as a sign, and then I thought it was weird that I saw everything as a sign, everything's a sign. It's the only reason it's in your experiences is because it's for you. Even taken back to the RES, you've told your experience what you want it to be. And so therefore, even amidst the where's Waldo of all the shit going on around you, most of which you can't even see, by the way, then you've chosen to focus on these items, and they highlight and they stand out to you. Think of walking through an antique shop. Something stands out to you, but you passed a million things along the way. That's your reality. All you have to do is change the things that you choose to see. What's on your Amazon wish list? What do you want that filter to pick up on? You set that standard. You must do it from a place of loving yourself first. You've got to get right with your mind and figure out how your mind works and get your relationship with you figured out before you go out there creating deliberately. Now, you're always creating, but a lot of people do it from an unconscious place, from these subconscious actions that govern 90% of your time here, or 90% of your waking time. So it's interesting when you really start to dig things out and you start to dredge that pit, and you start to go, hang on, I don't believe in this anymore. Why is that still rolling around? And actually, that's kept me pretty stuck. And actually, I don't feel this way about this anymore. What else is in here? And you start rummaging through that drawer that I'm inviting you to go clean out in your home. And that has a lot of deep meaning to it. And it's got to do with just tending your garden. And it starts with you, though. There's been a lot of weeds planted in your garden without your knowledge. And it's nobody's fault. Actually, it is something you subscribe for so that you can go in and learn how to tend a garden. We're all learning how to be gardeners and deliberate creators. And that's how you do it. You go pick weeds.
Pick weeds out of your emotional garden of shame.
Yeah. And then don't see it as shame. I mean, these are all temporary truths for stuff. You guys got this. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback, like all of these wonderful perspectives in which you can empower yourself with. And that's really what it's
tough.
About.
The ego's tough, man. It's this protective barrier that, it's there and it means well, I think. And it tries to protect you from, oh, you're about to go down this path, and we know this path is going to be rough. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to sign on to this? You're going to be around people you don't know. They're going to be talking about things that you don't really understand. Like, it's going to be very foreign. Are you sure you want to do it? Last chance to opt out of this. And, and I guess, I appreciate my ego or whatever that part is for wanting to protect me. Thank you for your service, I suppose. But at some point, I have to say, I'll take it from here. Like, okay, thanks, but I need to go down this path. I understand it's going to be rough, and I don't know where it is, and I can't see the end of it. I know that it looks scary and all those things, but like, if I'm going to, like, I only, as far as I don't want to drag the Hindus into this, but I mean, you only live once, right? As far as we know, maybe not, but before we go up there and have our minds wiped by the soul stealing, prison planet apparatus that's built up around us by the reptilians, but taking that out of the equation just for a second, if we can, listen, like, if I've got one life here, I don't give a shit about, I don't wear a watch. I don't have a fancy watch. My car has 159,000 miles on it. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I want to go on an adventure. I want to go visit someplace. I want to go to all these different countries. I want to go have an experience. That to me is worth so much more than I'd rather spend money on an experience than anything else. And so, I had to come to that later in life, though, after I lost $1 million house to short sale, after I lost, the cars and the jobs and all that stuff. I had to go through that and get kicked in the balls 100 times until I realized I don't give a shit about that. In fact, those things were like anchors on me. I should probably not try to go towards that. I should probably try to go towards experiences. And again, what am I going to do? Beat myself up for that? That's how I felt at the time. I was working hard and making money and spending it on things that I thought were going to be good. And I had to go through this whole thing. And now on the other end, what am I going to do? Make myself feel bad for it, or just go, oh, I've changed. The things that were important to me then they're just not as important. They've moved down the rankings on my list of things, and they're less important now than they were before. Does that make them wrong before? Not necessarily. They were just ranked differently. They meant different things back then, you know? And so I'm at this point now where it's like, well, I just turned 50, you know, second half of my life, right? And I want to see it all. I want to go out there and see the craziness. I want to go out there and see the beautiful stuff. I want to go to amazing beaches. I want to go to sketchy ass backwoods towns. I just want to see it all before I die. Is there anything wrong with that?
No, that's actually honestly the formula. That's the secret to this. We had a conversation last night. So one of the quotes from it is, the answer to life is the mastery of questions. And I just love that idea because you are here in my mind to touch, smell, taste, see, and hear everything you can before you go, before whatever this is, and you move on to the next thing. And maybe your job is here to learn how to alchemize energies, and you recycle here until you figure that out. And once you do so, then you move on to create your own reality. Like, let's say in the next one, we don't want lizard turds running shit. We don't want cancer or pedophilia. We don't want fleas. Things like this. Like, maybe we're here taking notes for the next version of this. Maybe we're sort of like quality control agents, to where we come in, we live it, and we have notes. Hey, we go back. David Dyke's got notes. So we can experience things here in honestly any damn way that you want, which is fascinating when you really embrace that concept and even entertain it in meditation, which I don't do sitting meditations. I do walking stuff. So anybody that's like, I just can't meditate, so I'm out on that, dealsies, samesies. So there's many other ways to do this. So to what you were saying with this, the idea that now you look back on it and you didn't lose anything, even though it's still being phrased that way. You didn't give up anything, even though really it's being phrased that way. What you did is that you were in the middle of saying, okay, this I embrace this. I had the experience, check off the list. It's sort of like training wheels, right? Once you have used training wheels for a certain amount of time to get your balance, they now impede your mobility moving forward. You're not going off ramps with training wheels. You know what I mean? You need to remove that limitation from yourself. And so I'm going to gift you with a new limitation to remove.
Okay.
Let's absolutely travel every fucking where we want. Let's fly into anywhere we want. Let's me and you go to Italy for some book signings and things like that. But we're going to buy new cars when we're over there just because we can, drive them and do whatever the fuck we want, and then flip the keys to the bellhop at the end of it. Doesn't that sound cool? There's no trade-off here. There's no either or. This is yes and we're only I would encourage anyone not to limit themselves in any respect in any further direction, because it doesn't serve us moving forward, just like your $1 billion home in your island in Belize didn't serve you moving forward.
Yeah, it was but I thought I wanted it at the time.
You did want it, and you got it, but what you got that's greater is that you gave it up. Like, that's even better, is getting what you want and then giving it up. Like, that's huge, man. I think of the Willy Wonka syndrome, right? Where at the end of the movie, Charlie, he's given the unlimited gobstopper. He can absolutely save his whole family. And what he did was he said, no, thank you. And he gave it the fuck up. It was in his hands. He could have everything, and he walked off. And then what ended up happening?
He got it all in reality.
And said, here's an even bigger. So here's the thing to keep in mind with all of this. We are so fucking limited in our perspective. And the way that I view this, and one of the more co-collaborative ways that I've chosen to view this place lately, and simply because I wanted to stop, because I had for a long time viewed my higher self or God or any of these things as somebody that was punishing me. That was somebody that was like, all right, well, you can have what you want, but not until. And now I don't see it that way. Now I absolutely see it as a co-collective creative, a collaborative process in which we are working together. The concept in indigenous tribes of the man in the maze. I have a necklace back there I got on tour that has this. It depicts a man standing in front of a maze. And the idea that gave me with this is that it's the same concept. It's that you're in a maze right now. You, Charlie, are in a maze, but there's a you with a radio basically up ahead, above you, if you want to call it that has an aerial view of the entire maze. It knows all the corners. It knows all the people that are coming into your life. It knows all the best ways to navigate you through this thing to get you to whatever you want. And all you have to do is tell it what you want. There's no starting point, ending point. The starting point, ending point is time from our perspective. But what that enables us is the ability to grow over duration. So you're seeing change over duration, which you need time to facilitate, just like you need a pool to hold water to go swimming, right? It's just a facilitator. And so when you really start to look at it like this, you can go anywhere you want. You just tell it where you want to go. And rather than going, no, fuck that guy. He led me down a wrong path and it was hard and I lost my house and fuck this. I'm done listening to that. And you march off in your own direction. Then yeah, it's a maze at that point. But when you see it as, okay, it's just feedback. And actually I was in my own way there. And actually what I know is very limited from my perspective. I can't see the whole maze. What if what's best for me isn't the $400 million lottery? Rather, it's best for me to grow organically and to get to a point where mentally I can really understand the energy of what money is, because it is that. Then I can really say, okay, awesome, because when it's presented, you can give it away. And then once that happens, that's when you're unfuckable with, dude. That's the power. That's everything. Because nothing's on a pedestal. There's no attachment. And again, I highly encourage folks, if you're absolutely curious about this, please reach out. I do mentoring and coaching as well. But also, if you want to dive further down this, go into these roads with yourself. It's right between your eyes. And I feel that the reason the reality around you has so many loud, bright, shiny distractions in it is because it's the keys that keep the ones that will not see here, not the ones that can be shown if shown. They're the ones that keep the little infants, at bay and advertise, because it's bright and colorful, but it's loud. And the reason it's loud is so it can keep you from the real truth of you within you. It's fascinating, man.
It is fascinating. Do you have your workbook by you? Because mine's in the other room and I couldn't grab. I just want to show people. You have a workbook that is available at your website. It's available on Amazon, but they can get to it from your website, expandingrealitypodcast.com. This workbook is amazing.
Thank you.
It's really, really smart. It's not blank like you would expect a workbook to be. I mean, there's plenty of places for you to write, but the layout is such that he's holding it up. For those that are listening on the audio podcast, he's holding it up in video format. But just go to expandingrealitypodcast.com and then find it. By the way, your website is awesome too. Your website is like the book. It's laid out.
That's not an accident. I did both in Canva, laid them out that way. But thank you for saying that, dude.
Yeah, and I thought it was really smart. It was so smart. I told Greg Carlwood from the Higher Side Chats. He was mentioning something about something. I said, "You've got to check out this book." And I sent him the link to it, and he bought it. So I know he bought one of your workbooks. I said, "Just get it. It'll trip you out, because you'll go, oh, this is so smart. Why isn't everybody been doing it?" So I like that listen, when you go to school, when you go to get an education, allegedly, what do they have you do? They have you have books and workbooks, and take out your workbook and we're going to do this. Well, your workbook is like the most based workbook out there. That's the workbook that you get when you're going to give yourself a real education, not some horseshit Common Core or whatever that's in classroom where you're sitting in rows and perfect straight lines and the bell goes off, just like Andrew Carnegie dreamed of years ago, right? To get you conditioned to a lifetime of working in one of his factories. No. This is the workbook you get when you want to improve your life, when you want to come at things from a different direction. Man, I just fucking love you. I love your energy, where you come, how you're doing this. I don't mean this to sound in any way, in any way other than totally positive, but I'm really proud of the journey that you've been on too, to go from somebody that's like, let's just try this podcast thing out, to fuck that. I'm leaving my normie job behind. It's dead to me. I'll take the lessons I learned from it, and we're going to create something different. And your show has blown up, and the guests that you have and the group shows that you have, it's all happening. As Alex Jones says, it's all happening. It's all happening for you, man. And I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. It took me so long to be able to sit here and take compliments like that, but you're goddamn right, Charlie.
You're goddamn right. You deserve it. You've earned it. It's not, nobody just handed it to you. You did the hardest things you could do. You quit your job and said, I'm going to operate without a net. I'm just going to go for it. And I don't know how to get from A to Z, but I know how to get from A to B. Mm-hmm. And I know that once I get to B, I'll figure out how to get to C. And we're just going to make that happen. And I think that when you start down that journey, you start down that path, man, things illuminate themselves.
They do.
Things come in. People want you to be successful in this journey. The universe wants you to win. They want you. They want you to do better. They don't want you to be miserable. I don't think that helps. I don't think that helps work out. As you said, we're the bug detectors, right? We're going through. I don't think that helps to be miserable. I think if you can get yourself, at least fake it till you make it. Pretend like you're happy for a while. See, try that. You've tried being miserable. Being miserable doesn't work. Try being happy. Try faking it. I don't care. But go out into the universe and see what happens when you hold the door for some old lady and see how that changes the way you feel for a couple seconds or whatever, and do good things. And I don't know. Well, let's wrap it up. Who's coming on? Who's new for the group shows? Who are you going to have for that? How can people get a hold of you? Give us everything that you got here.
Fucking all of it, right? Thank you again, Charles, so much. More than you know, brother. And so proud of you as well to see your journey go through and not deflecting your compliment, but also giving you where it needs to be. And just so fucking proud of all of us, dude, for doing this. One more thing to point out on the book is that another reason that I did it wasn't just to sell books. It was actually to empower other people to start their own and empower other content creators to add value to their audience as well. So we founded a publishing house called Ridiginal Publishing. And that word stands ridiculously original is what it is. And we are empowering and amplifying the voices and visions of ridiculously original authors. So if you are an author, an illustrator, we're in a lot of collaborative, amazing things going on with this stuff, then reach out. We would love that. And you can find me at expandingrealitypodcast.com. The other thing, group shows. So yes, oh my God, dude, we just did one last night with legit bad folks, Joe and Jen. We had Brandon Williams, we had Ryan Sprague, Andrew Benjamin, and Heath Cummings on that thing. And that is some empowerment, sovereign citizen, but not the ones that get tased type of thing. Some actual unsubscribing from the U.S. corporation, which is what we're all breaking down here. We're getting Black's Law's definitions. We're really looking at empowerment and seeing what sovereignty really means. And it's actually turns out to be one of the most American fucking things you can do. So that's coming up on the show. We, of course, have just a myriad of amazing people. I think Amy Belair's episode is out next. Have you had her on yet?
No, but I know Sam just had her on. Yeah.
I'll get you connected. We'll do it. She's incredible. So she's coming on the next. And then Etienne just had his episode released this week as well. Back for his 5th edition. I was like, dude, did you ever think about just writing a new book? And he was like, no, I'm just going to keep
His book is amazing, though. It's perfect for non-readers because there's so many pictures and images and flags and all the symbols and all that good stuff.
When I told him too, I was grateful for it because he reached out a week after I'd given away the copy that he sent me the first time out. And so I was like, not only this, so the universe, I gave my copy away, not ever expecting to see it again. Etienne, literally a week or 3 days later, messaged me, hey, I'd love to send you an updated book and come back on the show and talk about it. So win-win. So it was not only better than keeping the book and being like, no, I don't know if I'll get another one. But not only that, I got an updated version where the kids were all wearing masks now. I love it. And then also he came back on the show and I got an amazing conversation with my friend out of the deal. So it's what you want or better. Leave that open because that open-ended, not fixed to this is what I want, like what I want or better, because that or better, man, just put it in that category. It's always so. Always so.
We're not a bunch of space hippies here. I'm telling you, there's something to this. You don't have to be like twirling in the parking lot of a Grateful Dead concert to understand this stuff. This is stuff it's real. They want to keep it from you. They want it. They want you. They benefit with you thinking that you're little old me with no power, with nothing. You're just a pawn on this chessboard. Well, you know what? I think we have a little bit more control over our lives than they would want us to think. And whenever I have these conversations, I'm inspired to see what else is out there. That's Brandon Thomas, everybody. You can check out his work. Support him. expandingrealitypodcast.com is the place to do that. If you like this episode, you can take the additional step right now of sharing it with your friends and family. You can follow me on Twitter at macroaggressions, and the website is theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon.